Okay, well, the heater stopped working last night. Our diesel heater, which is pretty important right now because it's pretty freaking cold out. So we had a cold night last night, and then just as I was starting to get my tools together to try to figure out what's going on with that thing, we noticed that the refrigerator's not working now. The issue right now is that we need to get out of here, right? The marina that we're in, the marina that we bought the boat in, they sell slips to people. So they kind of do this annual payment thing. Us being here for a couple weeks or a month or two, that's not really a part of their business model. And so they're being really generous in letting us stay here until we can get the boat on its feet and ready to go. But, I mean, I don't want to test their patience, and so I want to get moving. And plus, we want to start our refit down in North Carolina so that we can start cruising again. Now, the transmission that we pulled just the other day, we can't actually have that looked at by the transmission guy for another couple of days. So now it's time to do battle with the fridge compressor. So pretty much the first thing that I do whenever I troubleshoot something like this is I check to see if the unit is getting electricity at all. Yeah, so I'm not getting any voltage here at the main power supply to the compressor. Next, I wanted to know if there was any voltage at the refrigerator breaker on the distribution panel. So I knew that I had power at the breaker, but not at the unit. So I checked the wires at the unit, and the positive wire did run over to the panel, but the negative wire actually ran aft toward the engine compartment. So I headed that way to see what I could find. So I think I might have figured it out. I see 3 black wires that terminate at terminal rings that were connected to the transmission. So they were just grounded to the engine directly rather than going through the negative bus bar. I've got a feeling that this is the problem not only with the refrigeration, but also the heater. Okay, bud, turn the heater on.
Okay.
Yes. Now can you turn the refrigerator on, see if it's working?
Yeah. Okay. Ba-dum-bum. Woohoo! Yep, I think it's running, bud.
I am a man! Ah!
Good job, buddy.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going in because there's a lot of water from the freezer defrosting.
Good luck.
Thank you.
If you have any problems, just scream.
Isn't there a drain that you can push?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should do that instead.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god. I just got seasick.
It's under the sink.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's not gonna be nice water.
Not pretty. That does not smell good.
So now that we're kind of back to a stable boat, we've got our refrigeration, we've got our heater back on. Now it's time for me to keep hacking away at some of those pre-departure projects that I want to get done before we can get out of here. One of the main things that I want to accomplish before we leave here is I want to make sure that the engine is in really good working order. 90% of the problems that we could have while underway are going to come down to regular maintenance issues. You know, things like fuel filters, things like air filters, and in particular, things having to do with the cooling system, because they use salt water. And salt water corrodes stuff, it builds up mineral deposits, and just can make a lot of problems for you. And so today, I'm gonna start this process by checking the raw water impeller. Now, I've been kind of dreading this project for a little while because it's really hard to get to the raw water impeller. It's way back in here, and so I can't really see it as I remove it, so I'm gonna have to remove it blind, like just by feel. It's hard to express just how difficult it is to use tools in such a small space when you can't see what you're doing. The space is so cramped, in fact, that I could barely ratchet the socket wrench to get those bolts out. I can't hardly get these tools to the impeller. Just muscling it isn't gonna be the solution. I'm gonna see if I can't come up with something. This is something that I need to do more or less at least every year. And so I need to have a solution that can work, that's not too painful, that doesn't take me too much time. So I went to Defender and I found this Jabsco impeller puller. This one in particular is the compact model, and I'm hoping that it's small enough to get back in there and to be able to pull the impeller even though I can't see anything and I can barely even like move my hands around back there. The two arms of the tool need to enter into the gaps between the blades of the impeller. But the middle threaded bit of the tool needs to be placed perfectly in the center of the impeller once those arms are in place. So I basically had to get the arms in exactly the right gaps. As you can see here, I'd fight for like minutes to get the tool in place just to discover that it was not centered and I'd have to start all over again. Even with the tool, it's really hard. So I'm gonna use, Desiree's got a little makeup mirror here. I'm gonna see if I can mount this on the starter to be able to like see where the tool's going. Yes. The real problem right now is that the head of the screw is too long. The starter's here and the impeller's here, and I don't actually have enough room to work. So I'm gonna cut this screw shorter. Okay, well, I think I might admit defeat on this one. This is the second time I've had to cut some metal, and that this was just a real bummer to be able to do it with. And plus what I really need is like a vise to be able to hold it in place. So now that I'm in the States, I think I might just get a ride on down to Home Depot and pick up some tools. So I was more than a little excited to be in a real, honest-to-God Home Depot rather than some small Central American hardware store out in the jungle.
Estoy buscando para manguera para un barco. Se vende manguera.
Sometimes you just happen to have the right tool for the job right under your nose. Check that out. Oh, that is so badass. Let's go install it in the boat and make sure it fits in its place.
All right, ready? Nice.
Oh my God. I am so excited about that. You'd never know.
I'm sitting on a vice grip.
I'm sitting on a vice. That's right. I've got a lot of my tools, in fact most of my power tools are still back in Panama. My plan was to just kind of get by until we were able to go down to Panama and get all of our stuff and fly it up here. I finally just broke down and bought a handful of these Ryobi brushless, cordless power tools. Oh yeah. Well, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but that looks like it will work. And it's crazy how little time that took me to do. 5-10 minutes maybe. It's just amazing how easy something can be when you have the right tools. Oh my God, I think it's working. Yes! Oh, check that out. That is so freaking exciting. Oh my God. What a ridiculous project, man. All right, so the next thing that I want to double check with the engine is the fuel tank. You guys may remember that when we were taking a look at the water tanks on the boat, there is a lot of gunk and growth, probably a lot of algae in the water tanks. If the fuel tank has that much growth in it, then we could have serious problems while we're underway and offshore. If fuel lines and filters get clogged like that at the wrong moment, we could lose the boat. I don't know for a fact if it's very dirty in the fuel tank, but there's no inspection port, so there's no way I can really know for sure. So since it's better safe than sorry, we decided to hire a fuel polisher. Okay, so this is Jay Conda. He is the fuel polisher from US Safe Fuel.
Yep.
So Jay, could you just briefly explain the process?
We have the pump outside set up on the dock, and we'll run our hoses into the descending unit, which we already took out. And we'll circulate the fuel through the pump, which has filters on it. And I'll take a sample and I'll check it and see how clear it is. We'll see how bad it is. It's not bad, I can tell, but there is water in there. And then once we get most of the water or any sediment out, then we'll put our product in there, and that we'll circulate it through again. And it will clean the sidewalls, it'll clean the algae, and it'll get rid of all the excess water that's in the tank.
And so that's just sucking it into the system.
And then it'll mix it with the fuel. Well, we're done now. This was the sample we took at the start.
Okay.
Not bad, actually. It's really good.
Yeah.
This is the sample after we ran it through the filters 3 or 4 times and put our product in there. Yeah, the tank is clean. There's no sediment in the bottom on either one of these.
Yeah.
And it's crystal clear, almost crystal clear. This tank was pretty clean. You're ready to go.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. I really
got
appreciate it.
So it appears like we are doing a lot of boat work to a boat that we more or less were hoping wouldn't need that much work, right? That was actually one of the 3 premises that we were going after when going through the boat buying process. And I mean, I feel like maybe our expectations were a little wrong, but I think what I've been learning through this experience is that, you know, if you want to buy a Pacific Seacraft 40 that doesn't have any of the issues that we've been dealing with, you're gonna have to buy a brand new Pacific Seacraft 40. And those cost over $600,000. And we paid $200,000 for this boat, a 24-year-old PS40. And so there's a $400,000 difference there. A lot of the systems on the boat are original, so they're 24-year-old systems. And so in a lot of ways, the value we got out of this boat is a boat that's been really taken care of, but hasn't been fully upgraded. And again, that's why this boat doesn't cost $600,000.
And for us, I feel like Atticus 1 was a really great kind of stepping stone to a boat like this, because a problem like troubleshooting the fridge or troubleshooting the heater, or even the transmission, it's like things that we're capable of doing. It's not like the work we were doing on Atticus 1 where we were like recoring the deck. I think we bought a really, really good boat for this value, and what we're paying for it is we have to do a lot of the maintenance that comes with buying a boat that hasn't been used in the last 5 years.
Because in a lot of ways, the lack of use is why the boat's in such good shape. But at the same time, systems sort of break down over time. If you don't use the boat for, say, 3 years, well, now when you come back to it, there's going to be 4 systems that don't work, and it'll appear like they all just broke at the same time. Whereas if you're on the boat using it and fixing the systems as they break, then it's so much more manageable.
At the same time, like, I wake up and I'm still very energized and excited because I know that this is a really good foundation for a boat to live on. So I think we just need to put our heads down and like kind of catch up to where the boat is. And again, I also think a lot of our problems have really just come down to the fact that we don't know this boat. It has way more complicated systems. It's got a lot more electronics than we're used to. Now we're just kind of like, well, I wonder what's behind that wall, you know?
Right. Yeah. Oh, this doesn't work. How does it work?
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea. Like, time to get the manual out.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I don't know, I see it like a puzzle, you know, and we're just, eventually we'll get to a point where we know we've like touched every part of the boat, went behind all the panels, and it all makes sense. But as for today, I also just figured out that the head is not flushing.
Yeah, so the toilet is not flushing.
Yeah.
The motor is seized up. So that's going to be something for next week. So hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking on the little subscribe button down below. And other than that, we'll see you next Thursday. You're not going to want to miss it because the boat, we actually paint it purple. I think it's a good look, don't you?
Yeah, like a bright purple.
With lots of like hearts and butterflies.
And a dragon.
The dragon's actually orange, so the orange and the purple really mix in an interesting way, and we think you guys will like it. So we'll catch you guys next week.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out this week's episode. I wanted to take a couple minutes to thank some of our newest patrons. Now, since we're in Atticus 2, I have to kind of redesign our shout-out system with maybe a chalkboard or some stickers. I'll get around to that, but in the meantime, I just wanted to do a couple old-fashioned shout-outs. So to our newest first mate level patrons, thank you so much, Dan Lostra. And moving on to our bosun level patrons, thank you so much, Carlos, Amanda, and Carla Garcia, Fred Perdue, and Hugh Van Dyne. Also to our newest Yachtmaster level patrons, Antonio Howe, Brad Scott, and you've been with us for a really long time. I don't know how we haven't thanked you before, but you're amazing and thank you so much. Sue Leister, Donald Wilson, John Pignatelli, Carlin Daniel, and thank you so much for showing us so much hospitality while we were visiting in Florida. Ooh, and I almost forgot I've been using Carlin's weights to practice for this one. Thank you so much, Trisha and G. Ah! And finally, a big thank you to our newest deckhand level patrons, Ariella and Pops, Christopher Bennett, Brian Watson, Skip and Patty Zander, Cameron Kelly, Gregory Gourlay, Rich Hannon, Doug Weaver, John Kepler, Max and Jennifer Rich, Donald and Linda Yost, Paul Charbonneau, Edward Bird, Jeff and Libby Ellis, and Phoenix Reimagined. Ooh, how mysterious. Thank you guys so much for making all of this possible. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to put nearly as much time, love, and energy into each and every one of our episodes. So thanks again, and we'll see you next week.